may not always realize it, but there are moments in life when something inside you starts to quietly change. Not because the world around you has changed, but because you have started to see it differently. A sense that there is something more beyond routine, something beyond survival, something that cannot be explained with logic alone. And before we enter this deep journey, if you are someone who loves stories that go beyond entertainment, stories that touch the soul, and question the way you see your own life, then take a moment and subscribe to this channel. Because what you are about to hear is the expanded journey of the Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. A story that is not only about a treasure, but about the human soul itself. Santiago was a young shepherd in Spain, living a life that looked simple from the outside, but was filled with questions on the inside. His days were made of routine, his nights were filled with silence, and his mind was always traveling far beyond the fields where he stood with his sheep. He was not a man of wealth or power, but he was a man of curiosity. And that curiosity was dangerous, because it does not allow a person to remain still for too long. While other shepherds were satisfied with what they had, Santiago always felt that life was trying to tell him something, but he did not yet know how to listen properly. Every night under the stars, he would feel it again, that strange calling, that invisible pull toward something unknown. It was not fear, and it was not desire. It was something in between, a feeling that his life was still waiting to begin. Until one night, everything shifted. He had a dream, not a simple dream, but a dream that felt alive. In this dream, a child appeared to him, quiet, peaceful, and strangely authority-like. The child did not speak at first, but simply took his hand and began to walk with him. The world around them started to change. Fields disappeared, mountains shifted. The sky itself felt different, until they found themselves in a vast desert, and in the distance, the great pyramids of Egypt stood silently under the sun. The child stopped, looked at him, and said, "There is a treasure waiting for you." And then everything disappeared. Santiago woke up shaken, not because he was afraid, but because something inside him had been touched in a way he could not explain. The dream did not feel like a random image. It felt like a message directed only to him. Days passed, and he tried to forget it. But life has a strange way of repeating what you refuse to understand. The dream returned again and again, stronger each time, more real each time, until ignoring it became impossible. So he made a decision that would change everything. He would seek meaning. He traveled to a woman known for interpreting dreams, a simple place, quiet but heavy with a sense of something unknown. He told her everything, and she listened without interruption, as if she already knew the answer before he spoke it. Then she said something that broke his inner doubt. The treasure is real, and it is in Egypt. At that moment, his life stopped being simple, because now it was not just a dream. It was a possibility, and possibility is the most dangerous thing a human can face, because it forces a choice. Stay safe, or step into the unknown. Not long after, Santiago met King Melchizedek, a mysterious figure who did not speak like a normal man, but like someone who understood the deepest structure of life. He spoke about something called the personal legend, a destiny unique to every human being, a path that belongs only to them, but most people never follow it, because they are afraid of losing what they already have. Then he said the words that became a law inside Santiago's mind. When you want something with all your heart, the universe conspiring to help you achieve it. This was not motivation. It was a shift in perception. From that moment, Santiago was no longer a boy living a simple life. He was a man standing at the edge of his own destiny. Fear began to speak, telling him to stay, telling him that the world is dangerous, telling him that dreams are risky, but something deeper was also speaking, quieter but stronger. So he left. He sold everything he had, and began his journey toward unknown lands. He arrived in Morocco, and immediately, life showed him its harsh reality. He was robbed, he lost everything, and in one moment, he became nothing in a foreign world. This is where most stories end. But this is where his story began to transform, because instead of breaking, he observed, and in observation, he began to see patterns. People were not succeeding because they were lucky, but because they were adapting. He found work in a crystal shop, and slowly, through simple actions, he started to understand how life actually works. Not through dreaming, but through experience, not through thinking, but through doing. Months turned into growth, and without realizing it, he was no longer the same person who arrived. He had started to change internally. He then joined a desert caravan, a journey across endless sand, where silence becomes louder than words, and in that desert, he met love, a woman named Fatima, who taught him that real love does not stop destiny, it supports it, and he met the Alchemist, a man who did not teach through words, but through presence, who showed him that the biggest obstacle in life is not the world, but fear inside the human heart. As the journey continued, Santiago began to understand something deeper. Every loss was not a failure, it was a rearrangement. Every delay was not a stop, it was preparation. He arrived at the end of his journey and found the treasure. But it was not what he expected, because the real treasure was not gold, it was the person he had become. And in that moment, he understood the final truth. The journey was never about the treasure, it was about transformation. And now this is where the story stops being about Santiago and starts becoming about you. Because the question is not what he found, but what you are still delaying in your own life. And if this story has reached something inside you, do not ignore it. Subscribe to this channel, because this journey is far from over. And the next story may not just inspire you, it may change the way you exist entirely.